I want to paint a picture for you guys. Take a step back into my world for a few minutes. You're going to take a stroll down memory lane, and you're going to end up right in the world of Eegah. It's 1962. You
Eegah.
think it's 1962. You think that there's nothing out there for you, but you don't know. You're not aware that there is a caveman out there for you, waiting for everyone. You can swipe right on 1962 Tinder and you will find a caveman.
Eegah.
And when you find that caveman, just hold him tight, hold him close, and never let him go because you never know when he's going to get shot and end up in a pool.
Eegah.
Because today, we have something very special for you. And what that is Eegah!
Eegah.
Eegah!
Eegah.
Eegah? I really liked Eegah.
Okay, so this movie's actually called Eegah.
That's the name of the movie. Like, I feel like people are gonna click on this and they're gonna be like, "What the fuck? Did you just not want to type the movie? Are you
Did you
tricking
have a
us?"
stroke whenever you were typing up the episode description?
Yeah, it just looks like you just if you see it just typed out somewhere, you're like, "Oh, okay, so someone just made a typo."
Yep.
But that's not what it is. This is a full-fledged movie. It was on the 1978 in the 1978 book like 50 of the worst movies of all time and like why or something of the sort. Can't remember who wrote it, but if you're out there, buddy, you know you did that. And you put this on there and you're wrong. I can give you 50 movies like on I can count 50 movies right now that are worse than this that were made before this.
Really? You
Probably
can?
James, you don't think that we've watched at least 20 that we could put on the list before this just on I'll Suck Your Blood?
Probably not 20, probably like 10.
I'd say at least 15. I'd say at least 15. I don't know, dude. We went on like a really big binge of just like, lesbian vampire movies that seemed
Those
like they
weren't
were going
too
to.
bad.
Oh, wait, you're right. The lesbian and bisexual vampires were kind of fun, but the which vampires were bad? It was just straight vampires that sucked, huh?
Yeah, Devil Bat wasn't very good either.
Okay, yeah, so I can name at least like 15 just vampire movies that should have been on that list that definitely came out before this.
It
Straight
might have been
vampire
on the
movies.
list. You haven't read the book.
Dude, fucking white male vampire movies are the worst. I'm going to say that right now and I hadn't even came to that conclusion while we were doing any of the movies, but looking back on it right now, every vampire movie that had to do with someone that wasn't just a stereotypical white male
You're
was
right.
fun, and all of them that had to do with someone that didn't have a standard sexuality was fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Some of them were kind of bland, but for the most part, fun.
Give me that Fright Night 2.
Was it? Oh yeah, Friday Night 2 was pretty gay, huh?
It had the roller skating
He was
fabulous
cool.
vampire. He was awesome.
But you keep talking about Friday Night 2 like it's such a great fun movie, and the only fun
No,
part
just the
about that
parts with that guy are awesome.
that's there weren't a lot. There was a few at best.
It
There was
was
like
enough.
James, there was like 3 scenes with that guy in there, and you were like, "Oh, dude, 4-star movie." And I'm sitting here like, "What are you talking about? I fell asleep like 3 times."
Oh, this is the best part. It's so worth it. It was worth everything else.
I'm so positive that I saw you falling asleep during that movie too once he wasn't on
Nope.
the screen anymore.
Nope. Because
I
I
don't.
just never knew when he was gonna come back.
That
He
is
was so
so absurd
exciting.
what you're saying. Hey, do you like ginger?
Like the root?
Like you get it at sushi places?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nori, pickled ginger, or just straight ginger?
Um.
Nori, like the pickled
Yep.
ginger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
What color?
I love it so much that I actually know what it's called.
What color?
The I don't think I have a preference. The both the pink and the white are both good.
Yeah. The white is good when it's shaved.
Yeah.
I like a shaved particle.
Yes. I like it shaved.
Thanks.
The
I
pink's
just
better, I guess.
thank you.
Okay.
So back to Eegah. I actually really like this movie. It's
Wait, are
about
you gonna reuse that clip and like present it out of context for something else? Because now I'm worried about what I said.
I really like the movie Eegah. It's about like this caveman guy who he starts out like hundreds of years ago, probably in a cave. He makes his way to nowhere else.
No,
He stays in the cave. Eventually, he
no,
goes to Beverly Hills, and
you're
then
wrong.
there's a cave around, and I like
No,
caves.
it's my turn to say no. You're wrong. That's where the movie makes a misstep. The whole thing that he's like been alive for hundreds of years. They should have just let him have been a normally 35-ish-year-old man. It's just that him and his family have been living in the desert away from civilization this whole time.
But I have a really good question. Does it matter that he's hundreds of years old?
It doesn't matter, but it's stupid. And it's stupid that the dad goes on this like fucking monologue about how he knows everything about the civilization by spending 24 hours with a caveman.
Well, I don't think that's what it was. I think he knew the language. I think he's been studying. Is that not what you got from it? I got that he's been studying the language for years. So when he was talking to him, he already knew how to
No.
communicate.
No, he learned everything that he's telling us in like a 24-hour period. It's stupid.
No, I think this guy is like the Indiana Jones of Eegah.
He is, but he none of it can be proven. And now that we've seen the conclusion of Eegah, there's no way to prove any of it.
You're right. I mean, I do need an EGOT too. I actually wish, like, of all things that didn't turn into a series, what a missed opportunity. You could have made so many EGOTs. EGOT comes back. EGOT fucking gets his girl. They live a happy life. They go on the lam together. She turns into EGOT 2 Electric Boogaloo. I am so ready for EGOT 2 Electric Boogaloo.
This movie is like Frankenstein plus uh Tarzan.
Well, I mean, it's a movie that seems like it should be set in like a BC kind of era, but for some reason it's set in like Beverly Hills, Hollywood.
Yep.
It's a very odd thing.
Well, we know why because we discovered that the writer and director of the movie basically only made this to give his son a starring role in something.
Well, dude, that guy had at least like three pipes on him because he was doing all kinds of backup vocals that I couldn't even follow. I was like, where is this heavenly music coming from?
He's playing drums and everything, all just out of that one electric guitar in his hands.
Well, have you ever heard of a one-man show? Because that was it right here in Eegah.
Dude, Twilight Zone level.
I mean, every time this guy opens his mouth, there is two other women singing. There is a backup male vocal. There's bass coming out. There's drums. There's fucking a second guitar. I love him.
Full on band just coming out of his mouth.
He's powerful, and his name is Tom, and he has a little curly Q Elvis hair. Like he has like one curl dangling, and at one point it's like a solid like suspended dangle, and by the end of the movie, it's just like his hair just fell down because they didn't want to fix it.
Well, no, it's because it said it was 115 degrees. His pomade melted.
That's a very good point. And there's a few points in this movie where like the whole cast looks visibly sweaty.
Just miserable.
And then you find out that it's 115 degrees and it's like, "Oh, so that's very real sweat. You're just sweating and there's nothing you can do about it."
Yep. It's some rough cards you've been dealt there, bud.
But I mean, okay, let's just get into the intro of Eegah because we're starting this and like I think it's really interesting how we got into this too because I'm just showing James some postcards and then he sees one, he's like, "How do you say that?" And I look at it, I'm like, "It's Eegah." And he's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Obviously, it's a caveman." And here's another thing: if you look up Eegah, again, people might be mad because maybe I do this a lot, but this says adventure, comedy, fantasy. But here's the thing: I ordered a pack of 24 horror postcards, and I recognize nearly every single movie on it, and they're all like basically public domain horror movies.
Yeah.
And this was in that. So I'm like, okay, this is a public domain horror movie. I look it up, it's public domain. So I'm like, let's do a watch along with it and also watch it because Eegah looks awesome. We almost watched Frank Henenlotter's Bad Biology, but I was like, I think Eegah might be the move. And then me and James got a little tired. We had some other things to do, so we're like, we're gonna do it the next day. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll come to our senses and we won't want to watch Eegah tomorrow. And then we hop on the call, and I'm like, I still want to watch Eegah. And James was still down to watch Eegah, so
Let's watch Eegah.
we did it. And we come across this movie that, we're like, okay, we're gonna watch a fun ass caveman movie. It's gonna suck because it's on like a 50 worst movies of all time list, but that actually made it better than not being on a list. At least it's on something. But we get into Eegah. I'm gonna paint a picture. You assume there's gonna be a caveman. You get the little intro. It says Eegah, and then there's blood dripping down from it. It's just everything's like scattered around. It looks like shit. There's just shit like credits drawn onto little tablets and stuff. And like at one point, there's a shrunken head person, and we're like, okay, what? I'm sorry, where is that coming from?
Eegah.
And there's Eegah, and then it starts, and there's no Eegah. There's a fucking girl with giant I guess 60s hair, giant 60s hair. That's definitely not 80s hair. It's not curly whatsoever. Giant 60s hair, huge, the biggest thing I've seen in my life. So thick,
Immovable.
it doesn't move. She got in a pool at one point, and it just stayed. Nothing happened. She was like drenching herself in water.
She didn't just get in a pool. She went down a water slide.
And also, she put her head under the water slide and was like playing with it, and nothing happened to her hair. Maybe it's because it's 115. I don't know. Thanks, James. So we start out. We see her. She's in like Beverly Hills, and immediately, I just have to wonder where the hell am I?
Where's Eegah?
Why are there cars?
Caveman movie.
I thought this was gonna take place in the BC, and there was just going to be rocks as far as the eye can see.
Eegah.
But that's not what it is. So I was understandably confused. And then she starts like driving around, and within like 3 minutes, she drives right in front of a full-fledged caveman, a giant, towering Richard Keel at 7'2".
Huge mountain of a man just stops the car in its tracks.
Yeah, and she takes one glance at him, obviously Eegah, and she passes out.
Passes out. We don't know why.
Like, it took nothing. He didn't threaten her. He just looks at her, and she's gone, dude. And then he just starts like false waving his club around, and then all of a sudden his club is gone, and he has a billy goat in his hands, and he's holding it by its hind legs and just looking at it, and it's going like
in what is clearly not actual billy goat or animal noises. Like a human recorded those noises.
You ever met a billy goat? They sure sound like that to me, bud.
Yes, I have, and they don't sound like that.
All right, y'all take the argument, bud. But, he has a billy goat. I'm not sure why, but he does. And then he just kind of throws the billy goat off to the side and grabs his club again and then leaves. And then Tom, the guy with the curly little fucking, the guy with the brand new acting chops.
Our rock and roll hero.
Classic. He shows up and he's just like, and also, she was in the middle of the road.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't question that when we were watching it.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was happening, but I kind of just let it happen.
Although it's not like there was any cars. It's fine.
No, I don't. How did he find her? It's 1962. There's no cell phones. He just showed up.
No, he knew where she was going. They were meeting somewhere. And he was going to meet her after he got off of work at the gas station.
Why didn't they just go together? Was he 5 minutes behind her?
Yeah.
They could have just gone together.
Maybe he had to go put on clothes. Because remember, they're going to have dinner with her dad at the fancy place.
Oh, at the fanciest place I've ever seen in my life?
Yep.
With the tiniest mustaches?
All the little mustaches. All the white men with mustaches.
This was like, there were so many country clubs in this movie that I lost count.
It's probably actually just one, but yes.
Well, but they
just go there a lot.
Look, man, I'm setting the tone, and I think they had different country clubs because they were rich.
I think that's fair.
So, The girl starts telling her three tiny mustache Monopoly men friends that a giant attacked her. She also says that the Bible spoke of giants. And I will
Yeah,
say, no, James, shut up. I will say that in the Bible, I am a giant slayer.
you're David.
No, Caleb killed like giant like troll, or maybe it was trolls, but I killed like
Troll.
giants or trolls or something. Like giant trolls, I think. Some
You
one
didn't.
of
No.
No, 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 no,
You
no.
didn't
I
kill
no, no,
him.
no, no. I
You
don't
didn't
believe.
kill
No, no,
him.
no, 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 no. My
Caleb,
my
you
my pharmacist was this really sweet old Filipino lady, and she said that in the Bible I killed troll giant goblins.
no, that's not true. Caleb in the Bible was a spy, and he went to into the land of milk and honey, and noticed that there were giants there. Him and like two other guys, and then they
And I
came back.
killed them.
And then they're like, "Hey, we can't go in there. There's giants."
No, but I killed them.
You didn't kill him. I
I slay.
promise.
No, trust me, I slayed them. No, I gave people the intel because I'm a good spy, and then I went back and I killed those. I killed those giants just like I would kill Sean's fucking dragon any day. Fuck your dragon, Sean. I killed the giants.
So you killed Eegah?
Well, no, but like
You're the reason why we didn't get a sequel. Fuck you.
well, I didn't do the cops did that, dude. Fuck 12. What are you talking about?
Mm, sounds like the cops are killing the same kind of thing that you're killing. So I'm a little concerned.
Bro, it sounds like you're calling me the police. I'm not Kenny Beats, all right?
I don't know, man. I'm
You
starting.
can't
I'm starting to wonder.
You know what, man? This is some slander that I am not. I would never hurt Eegah.
You claim to be a giant killer.
But it was, I said troll giants. This is a caveman giant. And he's not a giant. She just keeps calling him a giant.
Yeah, let's reference that. They, for whatever reason, use the idea of biblical giants as like justification for the fact that another race could exist out there in the world somewhere.
Do you think Sam Squamches were in the Bible?
No,
You don't think the Bible ever referenced Sam Squamch?
I'm pretty sure. In all my years of being a pastor, Sam Squanch is not in the Bible.
Foot A 23 verse 3?
Foot A.
Dude, I don't know how it works. What the fuck? People always just say like little like words like cathedral, like cathedral 23, blue 32. Like I don't track with that. You know, they're talking about like catheter 27, the line 23. I'm like, what? The thing you put in your pee hole? I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's like.
I mean, like peace and love, guys, peace and love. But like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay that you don't know.
Okay.
You're probably better off not knowing.
Blue 32 said,
I wish I didn't know.
Sports 32
Sports
said,
balls.
said that Caleb slayed the troll giants, dragons, the troll dragons. Blue 32.
The word dragon
Catharsis.
does appear in the Bible.
Catharsis, yeah, 23. The one where I killed me, the king of dragon killing and
You
trolls.
look way too pleased with yourself. I'm not comfortable with this.
Me, the champion, the winner and killer of all the dragon.
Why are you standing there akimbo? I don't like it.
I win. I'm doing great. So she comes to terms
Eegah's
with
a Pokemon.
yeah, she comes to terms with him being a caveman, not a Pokemon. And then they decide, hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna hunt that caveman. So then now this is when the old and there's wait. Here's a whole nother issue.
Yep.
This father.
How he just miraculously turns into Indiana Jones for some reason.
Well, but how he also miraculously turns into a father for some reason.
He's been a father the whole time.
Apparently. Did I know that? Did you know that? Did any of us know that?
We knew he was a father in the beginning, and then he started acting like not a father for a while, and we're like, oh, maybe he's not the dad. And then it's like, oh, I guess he is.
Well, I think they forgot that he was the dad because at one point she's talking to him and she's like, "My father taught me this" or something like that, and he's like,
It's true.
"Oh, well, yeah, that's cool. Sounds like a good thing that a father would teach you." And I'm like, "Wait, aren't you the father?"
I think that was supposed to be like a little more tongue in cheek, but just the delivery of the line wasn't there. I think it was supposed to be like, "No, I'll never leave someone behind because dad, my father taught me better than that." And it was
Yeah,
supposed to be like a
exactly.
moment, but it they didn't deliver it that way at all.
Like you can't tell a joke when you're not funny, and that's what it equates to. Like it was not a good delivery. I was like, I still don't know whether or not that was a joke or it was,
Can't tell a joke when you're not funny, and you can't act when you can't act.
dude. Like I don't know if she was telling a joke or if that was a fault on the editing team.
Can't act when you're not a good actor.
I just don't get it, man. So that father, I mean, we're gonna get into him. He has a lot of problems, but
I don't
he
want to get into him.
let's get into him right now. So he starts hunting, and hunting leads him to, getting into a bubble shaped helicopter, as one does. And he starts to search for Eegah, but in the air. And then he then he talks to his daughter and her boyfriend. He's like, "Hey, meet me at the mouth of this really deep canyon. Like really, really get deep in my mouth of this canyon at 4 o'clock."
Put your mouth on the deepest canyon you can mouth canyon.
And then he proceeds to look in a random direction with binoculars in search of Eegah, but he's just kind of standing like at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, looking up.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's a giant issue, and he doesn't seem to see one with it. He could fall off a rock at any given moment. He's also standing on the side of the steepest and slipperiest rock, but somehow that doesn't end up being his downfall.
Oh, I love those slippery desert rocks.
Dude, they're the best. Eegah is actually just out in the middle of the desert.
Just walking around, middle of the day.
And he's just saying Eegah at helicopters.
Eegah.
Eegah.
Eegah, Eegah,
Eegah.
Eegah,
Eegah.
Eegah.
He is very expressive with his one word.
Can we please just that's the rest of the episode, just us talking in Eegah?
I've talked about wanting to do something like that for a while with different. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we're okay. Let me just paint the picture. The next 5 minutes, from 4:42 until 4:47, we can only. Okay, we lost a minute already, but for the next 4 minutes, only Eegah. So we're at the helicopter part where he's looking for it. You ready?
Yep.
Eegah, 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 Eegah.
Eegah, Eegah, Eegah. Eegah, Eegah, Eegah.
Eegah, 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 Eegah,
Eegah, Eegah. Eegah, Eegah.
Eegah, Eegah, Eegah. Oh, Eegah, Eegah, Eegah.
Eegah, Eegah.
Eegah, oh, Eegah.
Eegah. Eegah, Eegah, Eegah.
Oh, Eegah. Oh, Eegah. Eegah.
Eegah?
No, oh, Eegah. 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 Oh, Eegah. Eegah. No,
Eegah?
Eegah. Eegah. Eegah.
Eegah?
Eegah.
Eegah, Eegah,
Eegah.
Eegah.
Eegah. Eegah.
Eegah, Eegah. Eegah, 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 Eegah.
Okay,
Eegah.
so I think you guys got it. So if you guys didn't understand what happened the band starts playing. Someone gets pushed in the camping spot. The old guy, Indiana guy, gets pushed because he was in Eagah's spot, and then the girl brought out a little
The smallest
clock.
watch you've ever
It's
seen in your life.
the size of the tip of my thumb,
Bink.
and we got there. Me and James just deciphered that through Eagah's.
Yeah, for a lot of your hand motions, I really thought you were talking about nipples, and I was like, I don't think there were any nipples in this movie.
Oh, well, you thought I was talking about a penis at first too.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But I wasn't talking about it wasn't sexual, it was just you're looking at the time on your watch,
Yeah,
your tiny little watch.
yeah. I'm just used to that motion in other ways.
And can we talk about like the dad is out here searching for Eegah, a thing that possibly might kill him, and then they're just out here, they as in Tom and Roxy, which is the main girl, the daughter of Indiana Jones. They're just out here on a Jeep, just fucking cruising, having the best time. And then she's also making like
God.
Luigi and Waluigi noises. Like she's like, woohoo! Woo-wee! Waha!
Yeah.
Dude, it was so fucking weird.
Oh, wow.
And that went on for 4 minutes.
Way too long. It's
Oh.
such a long segment.
And then, yeah, they get stranded in a no-top Jeep. So they're like, oh, what are we going to do? And then one of them's just like, the Tom does not care whatsoever. He's just like, oh, well, they said they'll be here soon. He's like, yeah. Well, she's like, Roxy, as in she. She's like, that was like 3 hours ago, dude. And he's just like, yeah, well, sometimes people are late.
Yeah. It's 1962. What are you going to do? Call him?
And then they're just laying there, and he's just like, all right, hold on. And he pulls out his gun. And he's like, always carry my gun in the desert. Which would be fine. Like, I get it. Like, I mean, it tracks. That's probably one of the places you should bring it if you have one. But just his delivery and the fact that he has that haircut.
Dude, his dad wrote this script really thinking that it was going to catapult him to like action star status.
That is a good point. Looking on that in hindsight, he really made him look like the biggest badass in the world.
Yeah. He's badass. He's got the sexy hair. He can sing and play guitar. He can drive a car real fast.
Well, and these songs are like so well produced too, and like so not him, or maybe they are him in his actual band or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like he starts singing at one point, and he's singing about Valerie, and then we're just the whole time we're like, isn't her name like Roxy or something? And then she's like, so who's Valerie? And he's like, well, wouldn't you like to know? And I'm like, bitch, I want to know who that is. Where did the song come from?
So why don't you come on over, Valerie?
Valerie. That's all I was thinking of the whole time too. So they fall asleep, and then Eegah shows up to false swipe his club at some sleeping people, and to eat their food. You want to go into him being a Pokemon?
No, it's fine. He wants to eat the soup.
He wants the soup, and then for some reason, when she wakes up, she's like, "You left this soup out here, and you friggin' wasted all our damn soup."
Why are they all Southern rednecks?
It's the vibe I got. It's like, it's what their acting should have been, and I feel like they would have done a better job at it if I could just recast them as Southern people.
This is such a California movie, and you're making them all sound like they're from Tennessee.
Shouldn't everyone? Dude, people in Tennessee are hilarious. They're like, oh, dude, soda pop.
No, they don't say soda pop.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious.
They say this. They just call everything Coke. We call it pop up here.
Ah, dude, it's all the same. You just say it's all Kentucky. Soda pop it up, champ. Have fun. So anyway, she faints again, dude.
I'm still not convinced that she actually faints when she does this thing.
Do you think
that
she's
it's
doing a
like,
dead possum?
Yes, I think she thinks she's a fucking possum.
Wait. I actually skipped one important thing.
Okay.
Remember when they discover that the dad is fucked up, and then Tom's like, all right, I'm going to go search, and he's like, throw me that gun. And she literally throws a shotgun.
Just tosses it.
And there's definitely no safety or anything. He just grabs it and cocks it. I'm like, oh, so that could have exploded either one of you at any second during that.
Terrifying.
Just for that little cool interaction, just because the director wanted to throw him a gun.
Wanted to make him look awesome, man.
Like
This guy's gonna be Stallone before Stallone was Stallone.
Dude, Eegah was Jason in the Friday the 13th remake before Jason even existed.
So true.
It was awesome. Like, he did the thing, and it's just so funny to me, because in the Friday the 13th remake, Jason kidnaps a girl, and then he, like, keeps her in his little hideaway, and I've always just thought it was so hilarious, because I'm like, Does Jason even have that much cognitive thinking to where he can
Right.
get to the point of kidnapping someone and going like, "Oh no, yeah, I'm keeping you in here tied up with rope and all this and I'm keeping you captive."
And I have to like come back and like check on you every once in a while. Like
Yeah, like it's insane. He's been keeping her alive for a good while, so it's like she's there.
it's like taking care of a pet. Can Jason take care of a pet?
And then he also recognizes, like, oh, this is like she looks like my mom, so I gotta like falling in love with her or something. Like, memories. Like it just brings up a whole nother discussion that I love having. But Eegah does that same thing where I'm like, okay, isn't this guy supposed to be a caveman and not supposed to be aware of what's going on? He's just walking around saying Eegah,
Right.
but he knows how to kidnap two different people and keep them in his hideaway and threaten them enough to keep them there.
Well, we see that he has his former family members there in the cave with him. So he clearly knows about community. So he's just trying to build his community back up.
Is that how we're doing this?
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
He's building a new community because he lost all of his other caveman friends.
Yes.
And also, where did he lose them? When we first see his cave, I thought it was like where the meteor landed, but it was just like his outpost. Like what?
Yes,
What? It
his
just looked like
house.
some burnt shrubble. Ah,
Hey, man, if you found Bigfoot's home, it'd probably look like burnt rubble to you, too. You got to know where to look.
I actually feel like Bigfoot would have like a mansion. I think I full heartedly believe that Bigfoot is more advanced than us, and he has some cool shit going on.
Like an actual mansion. Or he even just like took over like some
An
like
island.
just like some rich asshole was like trying to build something out in the middle of nowhere and he's like, "Nah, fuck this," and kills all the workers and then just takes the house for himself.
Yeah, I mean, like, if Dexter was able to finish his whole, like, rampage and just go live in a cabin somewhere, I think Bigfoot could too. I mean, if Bigfoot's been able to hide out for this long.
Yeah, man.
Hey, how do you think they're going to bring Dexter back?
I have no idea.
Do you think he's just going to come out and he's just going to fly over to fucking, where'd they go? Um, 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 I almost want to say Antarctica, but it's not. Wasn't it it was something with an A.
Definitely
Anastasia.
not
Anna,
Antarctica.
and, uh, did Hannah go to Africa? Where'd she go?
I don't know.
Argentina.
Argentina, that's
There
right.
we
I
go.
do remember that.
Because they're talking about it for like 3 fucking seasons. It's like it's
Yeah.
burnt into my brain, but I just couldn't remember it right now. Because you know how I am. Whenever I need to remember something on the spot, I can't do it.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
Fucking Argentina. I don't know. Is he just gonna? I think he's just gonna fly to Argentina and he's gonna be like, "Hey, dudes, how's it going?" That's a Dexter thing to do, right?
Yeah, pretty much. You walk in and act like nothing happened.
Yeah, because he has like no social constructs whatsoever. He's just gonna walk in and be like, "Hey, dudes, how's the last few months been?"
There's also like a level of like badassery though, because like he knows that they knows now, and so like, oh, are you gonna be the one to say something to him? No, you're gonna act like nothing's wrong.
I don't think that Harrison knows though. He's still pretty fucking young, so I think like
That's true.
how much time is going to be passed too is a big question. I think it can't go off from right when the season ended because he was only there for maybe like a month or two. I feel like it's
Yeah.
going to have to be at least a year or two ahead.
Probably they'll probably keep it I would say they probably keep it at about real time.
Oh,
It'll probably
like
he'll probably like Harrison will probably be like 12.
that's a good point. They'll probably kick it off exactly where like in 2021 or 22 whenever it
Right.
comes out.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, it's interesting. I can wait for Dexter. But anyway, Dexter is way too advanced for what we're talking about right now.
Eegah.
So back to Eegah.
Eegah has his own dark passenger.
He has his own dark passenger, and it's Roxy, and he's trying to pick lice out of Roxy's hair, and he starts acting really strange toward Indiana Jones's daughter, and Indiana Jones is just like, "Oh, he's just looking for lice. Oh, he just wants you to eat," and she's like, "I don't wanna," and he's like, "Think of the alternative," and I was like,
It's
"Whoa."
so bizarre where like it becomes the dad talking to his daughter and being like, "Hey, I know it's weird. I know you're scared. Just go along with basically whatever he says, and hopefully you won't get raped."
It's
And it's like,
the
at what
weirdest.
point are you gonna do something?
Are you gonna step in? Are you gonna step in ever? Are you gonna do something? Are you gonna put your hand in between them? Or you just be like, do whatever he says so he doesn't do anything to you?
And
Like you think that a father
as we see him progress throughout the story, No, no, the dad does not have the balls to do anything.
Well, there's that one point where he comes out and he's like, "Hey, you stop it." But it was I mean, if we're looking at the time frame, it was well after he could have already sexually assaulted his daughter.
Oh, absolutely. He waited way too long.
Like, if he was gonna step in at all, he should have stepped in much sooner.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and it also brings up the question of when he goes outside to assault her, and the dad's just sitting there in the cave, not tied up or anything. What is he doing? Is he just sitting there, just like, "Huh, well, this sucks."
We're just giving Tom time to arrive. That's all that it really is. That's
I
that's
mean,
what happens.
I know that's what it is, but I'm just like thinking of the logistics of everything. Like, what are you doing, dude? You know what's happening to your daughter very well. You very well know what's happening to her, and you're just letting it happen.
You also know that it's happening right outside the door.
2 feet away from you, because the whole thing about it is like, okay, I guess we'll explain a little more and then I'll go back for the little things that we missed that were
Yeah.
funny. But pretty much what happens in this is that they're still in this cave because they're in the cave for a good while. It's like a 30-minute segment of them being in the cave. So they're in the cave, and then Roxy goes to shave her father because for whatever reason he's like, "Oh, get my shaving gear out of my hunter's bag," because
Yeah.
he has fucking shaving gear, like foam and everything, and a razor in his
Apparently,
Eegah
whenever
hunting
he
bag.
set out to get one picture of a caveman, he packed for like a whole fucking month.
I think he was. I mean, well, no, I was gonna say he planned to full on hunt him, but he said he was coming back at 4, so he wasn't. He definitely wasn't. So I have no excuse for that. He just has a shaving kit. He's like fucking Donnie Wahlberg or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
Whatever.
him, right? Yeah, yeah, Donnie Wahlberg in fucking Dead Silence.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. Are you saying whatever or
I'm just doing what you did. He's like Donnie Wahlberg or whatever.
fuck you? So anyway, she shaves him, and then Eegah comes in. He's like, "Shave me, Eegah."
He doesn't say those things, but
No,
yes, that's what he
he
does.
he says Eegah. He says Eegah, Gah. And then she shaves him. And then as she's shaving him, they're kind of having a weird sexual moment. And the whole time the father's just like, "You make sure you shave him really good. You're doing a great job, sweetie."
This is the whole part of her being in the cave is the weirdest thing because like it never picks a fucking lane. It's like, oh, she's like playing this game to try to get out, like play along, and then maybe they'll find a way to escape. Or, oh, she's absolutely terrified, so scared that she can't even play the game. And she's like recoiling and like screaming anytime he comes close to her. And then it's also like, oh, but maybe she's also falling in love with him. Like, which one is it?
But does that bring up the question? It does bring up the question. I'm not asking you. It does bring up the question. Is it Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, yeah, but
It has to be, right? Or is she just
I
genuinely in love with him because he is?
I don't
Hey,
know.
hey, this is a tall, beautiful 7'2" man. Didn't look so bad beside the giant lips when he was shaved.
I don't know. I really don't know.
It does. It doesn't look
It's
good.
it's very confusing because most depictions that you would see of like a Stockholm syndrome situation is like you gradually like
You're right.
go
She's back and
down or
forth.
like she's just constantly flip-flopping and I'm just like what are you what and it's made clear whenever I know why the movie exists. It exists just for Tom to be a hero and hopefully become a Hollywood star, but like the writer, I forgot his name already, but like he clearly just made her, he just needed woman. Like there's no character to Roxy. Roxy is just the stereotypical 1960s Hollywood version of woman. That's all I need. There's no character here. We're just going to make her woman.
And speaking of the writers, it was written by Bob Welling, and Arch Hall Sr. And it was also directed by Arch Hall Sr. And it was also shot in 14 days, and it was on a 15 million or no 15,000
1,000.
$15,000 budget, and it made $1 million.
Freaking crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, the dude like fucking sold his car to fund this movie, but he said he made
Yeah.
like 15,000 back the first night. So
Eegah.
Eegah, dude, you know, You did good, man. You did good, Eegah. So anyway, yeah, what we're getting to is that she shaves him, and then at this point, he's like, "Now that I'm shaved, I like you." So he tries to like grab her and shit and take her out, and then she's like, "No, no, no, it's okay. Well, let's not do it right now." But at first, she looks kind of like she's kind of liking it, and then she like doesn't, and then she does and doesn't. Like you said, she's going back and forth, and then she's like, "Okay, well, we can do this, but." My father's right here. And then that's also when it confirmed, like, okay, so that is your father because she said it.
Right.
And then they're like, okay, so Eegah's like, okay, so I can't do it with your father right here. So Eegah kill.
He
Eegah
got
kill
killed
father. And he goes to get a club. She's like, no, 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 right outside. And they go outside. And then, yeah, that's when he's just sitting in there doing nothing while they're going out to do terrible things.
Yep.
And yeah, but while they're in there, I do want to say that Eegah was being extremely hospitable.
Yeah, I mean, he introduced her to his family of corpses.
With shrunken heads.
He gave her sulfur water, which is apparently the magic powers that lets him live for so long.
A lot of smoke coming out of it.
Yeah, and fed her bone
With no meat on it whatsoever. And yeah, there's just a lot. And wait, I almost forgot about this. There was one scene, and it's not a scene, but it's just there's a point in the movie, and I don't know when it happened. But Eegah was wearing a caveman wife beater halfway through the movie, and then all of a sudden, one of the sleeves is just like gone, and it's just a full on like it's the caveman white beater, but without one of the fucking sleeves or whatever you'd call
I
it.
didn't pick up on that. I thought he was wearing like the WCW giant like leotard thing the whole time.
No, dude, I promise you, he was wearing like little caveman like shorts kind of things, and then he was wearing a fucking like wife beater. It was just like a black wife beater, but like with a caveman style. And then all of a sudden, it was
all
just
furry.
it wasn't furry. It was not furry. It was just like kind of ripped up,
All right.
and it didn't have like you know how wife beaters have like the little lines and stuff in them because
Yeah,
like that thin
the ribbing. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like that fabric. It was just like it was a wife beater like style, just a sleeveless shirt, I guess. You know, it wasn't a wife beater.
Tank top.
A tank top, if you will. It was a beat up tank top, is what he was wearing.
Was he wearing a tankini?
Something of the sort, but then he just has one strap, so you know, style. And I think that that's a good move on Eegah. Anyway,
I imagine Eegah having an entire closet full of clothes in that cave. Like,
probably
what am I gonna wear today.
Probably because he changed when he went to the cave, so I mean, he had at least one change of clothing in there.
There you go.
What's the point of changing your clothes if you don't wash them?
Maybe he washes them in the sulfur water.
Maybe he just had a lot of clothes and he just does what he can.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's fine, though. So, we got a lizard humping intermission. I can't explain it, but at one point there's just an intermission of lizards humping.
Yep. That's all it was.
And then it just leads over to Tom, who fell asleep in some tall grass while he was looking for Roxy and his dad, and her dad. And then the music starts playing when he wakes up, and I'm pretty positive it's the same music that's played when Sleeping Beauty wakes up.
It's very dramatic.
It's like euphoric almost. It's like a new life being born that
really
was
is.
dead or something.
So serious.
He also fell asleep in that tall grass while he was right next to his car.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, just sleep in your fucking car.
I don't know, man. It's also in black and white, so maybe it's hard to make out like what's sun and what's shadow, you know? Maybe it was too sunny.
Did you just say this was in black and white?
Was it not?
This was not in black and white.
It wasn't?
This was not in black and white whatsoever. What the fuck are you talking? What movie did you watch? We've been talking about this guy's blonde hair this entire time.
You can make that out in a black and white movie. What are you talking about?
James, hold on? I'm screen sharing you right now.
I see it. I see it.
Does this look black and white? Does any of this look black and white to you?
I see it's in color.
Are you insane?
I see it.
Why did you think this was in black and white?
Because the color is terrible, because they use cheap ass cameras. Like, you could never tell when it was supposed to be day or night because they couldn't actually shoot at night because they were actually in the desert and there's no electricity or lights in the desert.
No, dude, it was day because this was like the better version of Tremors.
But there were multiple times where they go to sleep at night. He fell asleep at one point in that grass.
Look, dude, all I know is that
They
Tremors
also
claims
they
to be
also
the
were camping.
scariest. Tremors claims to be the scariest horror movie in the daytime, and I'm gonna say Eegah gives it a run for its money.
Well, also fucking Midsummer. Get out of here.
Okay, I don't. Yeah, yeah, it's more like existential, like scary though.
Doesn't matter. It's fucking terrifying.
Okay, well, that's fine.
It's probably the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, they made noises similar to what Eegah makes in that movie. Well,
Eegah.
well, Eegah brought Roxy flowers.
That also seemed weird.
I thought it was pretty sweet.
But how would he know of that cultural
Look, man, I don't fucking know.
norm?
I don't
It
know.
makes no sense.
I have no answers for that.
It's just because they were like, "Oh, this is Frankenstein." That's the only reason. It's literally the only reason.
Yeah, well, you know what Eegah does when Eegah pleases because he's Eegah. I really like Eegah. So, okay, we kind of skipped over some stuff. Let me find my place. Okay, yeah, so we're right here. So, after they get out of the cave, you pretty much think that the movie's over because I've never known a movie to have a scene where or a point in the movie where people get kidnapped and taken to a cave and then they escape the cave and then it doesn't end, or at least not within like the next 5-10 minutes
Yeah, that's
max.
the end of the movie.
Yeah, but there was 25 minutes left.
That's not the end of Eegah.
There was a lot left in Eegah. And actually, at first, the first like 5 minutes, I was like, all right, fuck you, dude. Like, end this shit. But then right after, it was like Eegah venturing out into the real world and learning and then attacking random things, but not attacking because he never attacks. He just false swipes.
And that's whenever it becomes Encino Man.
That's when it just becomes really fun. It was already really fun, but it just gets better.
Now it's Encino Man, and Eegah does kind of look like Brendan Fraser, so it kind of works.
Yeah, I mean, you did make that comparison a good amount of times.
Because it's true.
Tom and Eegah also had a fight right before he goes out in the real world.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Tom gives him like 5 solid blows to the stomach. They look like pretty decent blows, but then he gets bitch slapped into a different universe.
Yeah, he does.
Like that dude went back to the prehistoric time with that slap.
He went back to Eegah's birth.
And then Eegah gets rocked, literally, with a rock.
Yeah, that was dumb.
And then my next 15 notes start with just Eegah, and then it proceeds with whatever Eegah does. So I'm just going to go through them.
Eegah does that.
So Eegah gets rocked. Eegah is bloody, but returns. Eegah chases a car with an entire club. Eegah is faster than cars. Eegah is at the top of a hill throwing giant rocks. Eegah learns that he doesn't like chlorine. Eegah hates dogs. Eegah hides in trees to get away from dog. Eegah makes his way to Beverly Hills. Eegah breaks into Roxy's house by breaking at least 8 pots and then screaming, Eegah, his entire way in. Eegah politely leaves the girl's bathroom. Eegah is fine dining with an actual chef. Eegah is at Tom's concert, but is hard... Oh, wait. No, that was meant for Roxy. Roxy is at Tom's concert, but is hardcore missing Eegah. Eegah is still wandering around false swiping at people. Eegah comes in and grabs Roxy, but then gets shot like 3 times. Eegah dies. But let me go back. That was all my Eegah statements, but I ended up going to the very end of this. So let's go back a little bit. There's a drunk guy.
There is a drunk guy.
There's a really fucking drunk guy that just resembles Brie at any time of any day. He is.
I only had one.
Dude, he's standing around just like, what? What are you talking about? And his wife is like, George, you're drunk. Give me the keys to the car. And he's like, hey, baby, I only have one. And she's like, yeah, 1 bottle. And he's drunk off his fucking ass. He wanders into fucking Eegah, and his shirt is like, it's that thing where your shirt, you have a button up, and one half is buttoned in, the other is unbuttoned. He's just stumbling all fucking over the place. And he sees Eegah, and then he just runs back to his wife, hands her the keys of the car, and he's like, the keys? I've had enough. And he just falls over, drunk as all fuck.
That guy really kind of stole the show, didn't he?
Dude, he like It was at a time where like it wasn't boring to me at this time. Like it was boring for a second, and then it started to pick up again because Eegah was just doing shit. And then this guy came in. I was like, oh, random pissed drunk guy, sign me up.
Yes, please.
Sign me the damn hell up. So at one point, Roxy stands up in front of her father and she starts like sexually taking off and retying her dad's tie and even like taps him on the
Yeah.
nose with it. And again, I was like, are you sure that that is the father?
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, there there's a really it's also I think it also speaks that she is the only female character in the movie.
Oh yeah. She really is, huh? There's no one else. Is there even anyone in the like concert and dancing scenes?
There's extras who are women, yes, but she's
Okay.
the only one who speaks.
Yeah, who says
And
a single word.
she doesn't have any like, friends who are women or anything. This guy did not want to write a woman character in his movie.
No, he just wanted to make Tom awesome.
Yep.
So Tom, this is around the time his hair starts sucking. And then he even says to the dad at one point, he's like, hey, I got my dad's wheels tonight. And the dad's like, really? Do they fit on your car?
Oh my god.
That was a good one.
I hated it.
That was a pretty good joke right there.
I hated it so much.
And then, this is when Eegah breaks into her house. He's trying to track her. And then, there's a beautiful woman making out with a guy with giant legs and checkered booty shorts. I thought that was pretty cool. I liked his widow peak. And then he tries to fight Eegah, even though Eegah's 7'2", and Eegah just Eegahs him into a pool.
Yep. And then he guys the lifeguard into the pool.
Yeah, the lifeguard blows his whistle. And he just throws him too. Chucks in another entire man. And then this when Tom starts playing with an actual band, he does the little razzle mataz. And this is when we find out that Roxy is in love with Eegah.
Yep. And her dad knows it.
Yeah, and he's telling her, he's like, go for it. I understand. You love her. You love him. Just you gotta break it to Tom.
It's the weirdest shit ever.
I don't know why he's okay with this. Like he should
Makes
not be
no
backing
sense.
this.
It makes no sense.
And then the band is playing. And it's pretty funny because a few different times, like Tom switches out and gives someone else his guitar. They play it perfectly, and then he goes to dance with his girlfriend Roxy. And then the other bandmate also switches out, and we were like, "You just have people on retainer to play all of your songs?"
Right? You can just be like, here, play this, and then walk away.
And they do, and it's so weird because like Tom is dancing with Roxy, and all of a sudden his bandmate, who I assume is probably one of his best friends or something,
You
just
would think.
walks up. Yeah, you assume. He walks up and he starts dancing with Roxy, and then Tom goes to like, grab her back, and then the guy gets pissed and he's like he causes a scene, he's like, hey dude, I'm gonna fucking beat your ass. What is wrong with you? And then he's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, wait, so you're mad and you're all of a sudden fighting him over someone who's literally his girlfriend?
It's his girlfriend.
And this guy, we've never
That's
seen.
why she's there.
I know, and we've never seen the bandmate before too. So it's not like they've had like this thing where like they're kind of
Right.
fighting over her, nothing else. Like he just shows up and then he's like, "Hey, that's my girl."
It's super weird.
It's almost like they probably wrote something in where like they were fighting over it earlier and they just cut it out and left that part in.
I don't even think that. I think that this guy wanted his son to have a line where he says, "That's my girl," and then like punch a guy out because that's like the heroic American Hollywood star thing to do.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. That's probably what that was.
He just shoved it in there so that he could have a freaking clip reel at some point. It's like, "That's my girl."
But as we know, it wasn't his girl because Eegah comes in, he grabs her.
It's Egon's girl.
That's Eegah's girl, dude, and I'm willing to let Eegah have her. I think that Eegah deserves her. Beside the problematic things he did earlier, but the thing is, the heart wants what the heart wants, and she seems to be in love.
She seems into it, I guess,
So let her have what she wants. She wants Eegah.
because she's not a person in this movie.
Yeah, she's so fucking weird. She's an alien, dude. And then all of a sudden, the cops show up, which I don't even know why they were alerted, but they were alerted earlier in the movie and started coming over.
I think maybe it had to do because he was walking down like the street, like looking at the stores and stuff, and people are like, "Hey, there's some weird giant man."
Yeah. So yeah, the cops
Which
show up.
that was California in 1962. You call the police and say, "Hey, there's some weird giant man, half naked, walking across the street now." They'd be like, "Yeah, it's every fucking day."
Yeah, I mean that kind of that tracks. So I'm gonna be okay with all that. So yeah, the cops show up, and then he's holding Roxy. He tries to run off with her, but then they shoot, and he gets shot at least like 3 times, and he falls in the pool. And then yeah, the movie ends on a Bible verse about giants.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I think it was a message.
It's not a message.
It was a message.
The message is, please cast my son in a movie.
I love the message. He did great. I love Tom. I don't like Tom really, actually. But there was one kill in the movie. Eegah like threatened to kill a lot of people, but didn't kill anyone. He just died.
Yeah.
So there goes Eegah. It was no boobs, but I'd recommend the fuck out of this, and I think I'd rate it a 3.
Yeah, 3 stars. Definitely recommend it. It's a fun movie.
It's a really fun one. I back Eegah. Somehow this didn't end up being a bad choice.
We are the world's first Eegah stands.
I don't think anyone else has ever seen this movie. People are gonna be so confused when this comes out, but it's fine.
Yep.
So I do want to do a fuck, marry, kill, and I haven't prepared it, so I'm gonna think of it right now. So we are going to do Eegah,
Of course.
Indiana Jones,
Of course.
and me.
Mm, um, I'm gonna have to kill Eegah because I don't think I could handle him. So that's frightening to me. I
Okay.
will fuck you. I will marry Indiana Jones because he's loaded.
Okay.
I'll be set for life. Just live in that country club.
Okay.
Be great.
Why'd you do my man Eegah like that?
Well, I mean, he already died, so you know, it's fine. I just have a feeling with as large of a man that he has a very large manhood that I would not be able to handle.
I think that's very upsetting.
I'm just scared of it. That's all.
I don't know. I think you're the fucking Eegah killer. You're the fucking Eegah killer, dude.
I am now.
That's very unfortunate what you've done, champ, because
Look at me, Slayer of Eegahs.
I think Eegah is a really stand-up guy. I think he's probably my favorite in the world. I think he should be up there with all the other major horror movie villains.
Stop.
I think he should be. Why shouldn't he be? You wouldn't want to see more of Eegah running around but Eegah full swiping on camp counselors?
Yeah, but that's not what this movie was about. There was no camp. There was no counselor.
I think that's what it should have been. And James, can you remind me, didn't we thank Patreons on that Planet Terror episode?
Yeah.
Do you remember me saying James Harrington, Jacob Costilla, and Samantha O'Hearn?
I believe so.
I'm pretty positive I did. So if I didn't, you guys just got a second thank, but I'm pretty positive that we already thanked you guys, but I forgot to mark them complete, so...
Yeah, I think I saw it because I remember there being another James, and I was like, oh, hey!
Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So, well, you know what? Thank you guys again. Those are the Patreons again this week.
Best Patreons. You're the best ones.
And that was Eegah. What a joy. James, thank you. Thank you for watching Eegah.
Thank you for having me.
Tell the people what you're about, James.
Yeah, my name is James. I do a show called Night Shift Video. That's Nite spelled Nite. You can find us on all the YouTubes, Instagrams, TikToks. Come say hi.
Beautiful. And if you want access to bonus episodes, polls that determine some of the movies I cover, movie commentaries, video episodes, and much more, head over to patreon.com/horrorsoup. You can donate as little as $1 to gain access to over 60 bonus episodes. Follow the podcast on Instagram at Horrorsoup, and I'm on Letterboxd during movie reviews at Horrorsoup Caleb. Sign us out, James.
$1. Eegah.